You know that feeling when you're somewhere new, listening in, and you just feel like you're missing something?
Hmm. Like there's a code you haven't cracked.
Exactly. A hidden layer in how people talk. And what if there was, I don't know, a secret key to understanding that, to sounding like you actually belong, not just, passing through?
Well, that's a fascinating idea.
So today, that's our mission. We're diving deep, trying to hand you a piece of that key. We're cracking the code specifically of British slang.
Ah, British slang. A
Yeah.
rich topic.
It really is. And the goal here is to give you, our listeners, some real insights. The kind of popular words, the phrases you'll actually hear day to day across the UK.
So you can navigate conversations a bit more like a local.
Precisely. Not just stand on the sidelines listening. And
Right.
we've got some fantastic material to draw on here. An exploration that really highlights the everyday use, the nuances.
What stood out to you about it?
Well, what I found really interesting was how it wasn't just a list of words, It dug
Yeah.
into why these phrases actually matter in daily life.
The function behind the form.
Yes. So let's unpack it. Because British slang, it's not just quirky words, is it? It's more like a window.
A window into the rhythm of daily life there. It really is. And you know what's fascinating is how these, well, seemingly small linguistic choices,
Yeah.
they can unlock such a deeper level of cultural understanding. It really goes beyond just like simple translation.
Right. It's not just swapping one word for another.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's about getting a feel for things, empathy,
Yeah.
maybe making connections, grasping that unspoken stuff, the context that sits underneath the words.
Mm.
When you start to recognize and understand slang, you're not just learning vocab. It's more like you're being invited into the subtle unwritten rules of how people interact.
That's a great way to put it, the unwritten rules. Because it is about the social code, isn't it? Not just the dictionary definition.
Absolutely.
So, okay, let's start with the basics, the essentials. Your British slang starter pack, maybe. The everyday stuff that's really the bedrock of conversation.
Foundations.
Yeah. And I think what people really want to get is those phrases that are almost, well, they're so common you barely notice them as slang, but they do so much work.
Like cheers or
Yeah.
fancy a cuppa.
Exactly. Those two, you hear them constantly. But let's dig into why they work so well. Why are they such powerful, social lubricants? What do they tell us?
Well, take cheers. As the source material points out, its versatility is incredible.
It really is. It's not just for a toast, is it?
Not at all. In the UK, it's thank you. It's acknowledging someone. Sometimes it's even agreement or a casual goodbye.
Like a little linguistic Swiss Army knife.
Huh. That's a good way to put it. It's lean, efficient, and it's just embedded in everyday chat. And that ubiquity, it maybe said something about a preference for understated acknowledgement.
Instead of a big song and dance about saying thank you.
Perhaps it's like a quick verbal nod, keeps things smooth, it keeps things moving without making a big deal.
Efficient. Pragmatic politeness, maybe.
I think that captures it well. It saves you needing half a dozen other phrases.
Okay, and what about fancy a cuppa? That's more than just asking about tea.
Or much more.
Yeah.
It's an offer of comfort, isn't
Yeah.
it? Hospitality. A moment to just stop.
Like a pause button for life.
Exactly. It's almost a ritual response to, well, almost anything. You could have a minor disaster unfolding or just a long day.
And someone says, right, cuppa.
Instantly. Fancy a cuppa to think this through. It implies taking a break, connecting, resetting. It's a social balm, really. A symbol of care.
A quiet little anchor in the day.
That's it. And understanding those dynamics, that's like your first turn of that secret key you mentioned. It opens the door to just blending in a bit more.
Yeah, it's like knowing the secret handshake, but with words. You start hearing them, maybe even using them tentatively, and suddenly you feel a tiny bit more in the loop.
Part of that subtle cultural club.
Right. But here's the catch, isn't it? Britain isn't just one place. It's not monolithic.
Far from it.
And just like the landscape changes, the language, the slang, it shifts too. So thinking cheers is all you need? Probably not.
You might get a surprise traveling around.
Which brings us nicely to, well, the regional rhythms of slang. This is fascinating.
It really is. Our source material does a good job highlighting these distinct regional differences.
And it's striking how quickly they can pop up. You could feel totally fine in London, then head up north, maybe Manchester, and suddenly you're thinking, hang on, what does that mean?
It's not just accents either. It's genuinely different common terms, words that shape local chat.
Yeah. So this raises that question, doesn't it? If you're traveling or even just watching TV shows from different regions, How do you adapt?
Recognizing the variations is, well, it's step one. It's absolutely key. The source specifically mentions the contrast between London and Manchester, for instance.
Okay, give us some examples.
Well, in London, you might hear geezer for a man, maybe, or proper used to mean really or thoroughly.
Right, like that's proper good.
Exactly. But then you go up to Manchester, and you might hear our kid used quite affectionately for a brother, sister, close mate.
Which would sound a bit odd down south.
Definitely. Or perhaps someone saying they're chuffed, meaning pleased or happy. It's understood elsewhere, sure, but it feels more rooted in certain areas, particularly northern ones.
That's brilliant. It shows that context isn't just what the word means, but where it's being said.
Precisely. Location matters.
So what's the takeaway for someone trying to, get up to speed quickly? It means context is king.
It really is.
Knowing that slang isn't some universal UK dictionary that adds a whole layer of sophistication to how you listen, right?
Definitely. It helps you tune your ear.
It's not just knowing the words, but knowing where they live, who uses them. It's like another turn of that key showing you the different rooms inside the same house.
Well put, the linguistic landscape is diverse.
Okay, so we know some words. We know they change by region. But then there's the really tricky part,
Uh-oh.
knowing when to actually use slang. And maybe more importantly, when not to.
Ah, the art of application, yes. Where vocabulary meets social intelligence.
Exactly, because you wouldn't just chuck a really casual phrase into, say, a super formal business meeting, would you?
Generally not, unless you were very, very sure of the dynamic.
Yeah.
But it goes deeper than just formal versus informal.
How so?
Well, it's about that cultural sensitivity. Slang isn't just words. It's tied up with unspoken social rules. The source makes this pretty clear. Navigating this is crucial to avoid awkward moments.
Right. Like using mate, for example. Seems friendly enough.
It often is. In many casual British settings, mate is perfectly normal, very friendly. But imagine using it to address, say, a potential boss in a very formal first interview in the City of London.
Might not land quite right.
It could subtly signal maybe a lack of awareness of the formality or the hierarchy, even if you don't mean it that way at all. It's not just the word, it's the implied relationship level in that specific context.
Okay, I see. And the reverse could be true, too.
Absolutely. Being too formal in a very informal setting, not using a casual cheers or an all right when everyone else is,
Yeah.
that can make you seem a bit stiff, maybe standoffish.
So it's about reading the room.
Reading the room, understanding the relationships, gauging the vibe. It's a subtle dance. And often, observing comes before participating.
Watching how others use it first.
Exactly. Ensuring you don't just speak the language, but speak it appropriately, fitting in smoothly.
That kind of discernment, that's vital for confidence, isn't it? You don't want to put your foot in it or seem like you're trying too hard.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
It's about blending naturally. Sometimes that means just listening and absorbing for a while.
Being an active participant in the culture, not just like a performer trying out lines.
That's a great distinction.
This understanding really refines your grip on that key, doesn't it? Helps you open the right doors at the right times.
Yes, unlocks the appropriate interactions.
Which leads us perfectly into our final point, really. Engaging with slang. Moving beyond just passively hearing it to actively understanding it.
Right. The source we looked at mentioned things like practice dialogues.
Yeah. And while we're not going to role play here,
Hope for the best.
maybe. But the core idea for you, the listener, is about active comprehension. How you can mentally engage with all this even before you say a word yourself.
And stepping back for a second, just by understanding these things we've talked about, the common phrases, the regional shifts, the rules of use, you're already doing a powerful kind of practice. You're decoding.
How do you mean decoding?
Well, when you hear cheers used for thank you, you're not just hearing a noise. You're recognizing its job in that moment, its function, and maybe that cultural hint of understated things.
Okay, yeah.
Or when you hear a regional term you don't quite know, your awareness that these differences exist helps you mentally flag it, categorize it. That must be a Manchester thing, perhaps, even if you don't know the meaning yet.
So it's like mental sorting.
It is. It's
Yeah.
mental rehearsal, active decoding. It sharpens your ear, your intuition. You start building this internal, I don't know, slang radar.
I like that. A slang radar.
Yeah. Anticipating usage, spotting the nuances. It makes you much better prepared for real-time conversations when they happen. You're not just passively listening. You're connecting the dots.
So it all builds up, even just listening intelligently. is a form of
A
practice.
very effective one, I think. It consolidates the knowledge.
Okay, great. So let's just quickly recap this deep dive then. We started with those absolute basics, the everyday stuff like cheers and fancy a cuppa, your starter kit.
But looking beyond the surface, meaning to the cultural role.
Exactly. Then we jumped into that fascinating complexity of regional differences, how London slang isn't Manchester slang, and why knowing that matters.
Context is key. Location, location, location.
Huh. And finally, we really stress that crucial skill, not just knowing what to say, but when. The art of application, the social intelligence needed.
Cultural sensitivity over just collecting words.
Right. So hopefully you now have a more nuanced grasp, maybe a firmer hold on that secret key we talked about.
Not just deciphering words, but feeling a bit more connected.
Yeah, sounding a bit more local, connecting more authentically, building those little bridges one phrase at a time. It just enriches the whole experience, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Makes you feel less like an outsider.
Definitely.
This makes me wonder, something for you, our listener, to think about perhaps, beyond the actual words. What deeper cultural values do you think get embedded in a country's slang?
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Well, maybe things about humor, or social hierarchy, or even, I don't know, a kind of resilience or way of coping. And what can figuring that out tell us? Not just about Brits, maybe, but about ourselves, how we use language.
Hmm. That is a thought provoker. What's
Yeah,
hidden beneath the surface of casual chat? Fantastic. Well, something to mull over indeed.
food for thought.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. Keep listening, keep observing, and keep exploring those amazing nuances of language and culture.
Absolutely. Until next time.
Until next time.